Hey there guys, this is Victor with Victor Vector JKU. Today I'm over at my friend Randy's house. Good friend, mentor of mine as I was growing up with working on my old Jeep Cherokee and everything. And he just traded in his previous Wrangler JLU and he just picked up this new Rubicon version. And today we are going to be installing the Armorlite floor system in it. Pretty excited about it. Armorlite reached out to me a little while back saying, hey, do you got anybody that you know that has the JL or JLU that you wouldn't mind throwing our interior in? And I was like, yeah, actually, you know what, I do. So I thought, you know, Randy, he has helped me out so much with my Jeeps over time. He's been a good friend of my family and to me. Let's get him set up with this. So we're gonna do that install today. So let's go ahead and walk you guys over and we'll go and get the unboxing going. All right guys, so this is my good friend Randy. So today we're going to be unboxing the Armorlite floor system. So let's go ahead and pull it out. Alright, so inside here, so first thing we'll go and cover, so there is a little pamphlet here and it comes with your instructions and stickers. So in this case, they come with a instruction manual and a couple of stickers. And on their instruction manual, what they actually have is a QR code for you to scan with your phone, and that'll bring you up to both a video that they did of how to install the JLU floor liner system, as well as also giving you the PDF version so you can go ahead and use that from your phone. So first PDF here is going to be our
Nice stuff.
Yeah, so what do you think, Randy?
Very nice. It's I think this is going to last a lifetime.
Yeah.
Very durable looking. And the feel is, it's thick. I think with the thickness and all the padding, this is going to quiet the ride down quite a bit as well.
Yeah, for sure. So this is very similar to the JKU version. I do notice a couple things that are a little bit different, but for the most part, I mean, we still have our thermoplastic blend for the top coat. We have our 2 layers of polyester underneath. Again, it has really good molded features. Looks like it's going to fit up really nice inside the interior, and it's going to give a much better than factory look than the factory carpet that's in there right now. And then here we have the rear compartment. And again, looks really nice. So one thing that I also did notice that's a little bit different than the JK version is that the front portions of the liner, those guys, you'll actually unbolt the seats to install it. That way it's a little bit better improvement of water intrusion, so we don't have to worry about water getting underneath the liner as much. Whereas the rear, we do not have to unbolt the rear seats. We do have the slot cut to be able to get it around the front feet of the rear seats. So we'll be good there. And then also the rear feet of the front seat, we have the ability to get around here as well. But for the front panels, we will actually need to remove those bolts.
And then 4 plugs.
Yep, then we also have our 4 drain plugs that are going to mount into the floor liner through to the sheet metal. So we have the same pass-through drain system that you don't have to remove anything. And it'll be able to just rinse out the interior and it'll wash straight through the floor, underneath the sheet metal, and out of the cabin. Now, there were just a couple other things I wanted to highlight real quick about the JLU front floor liner system, different from the JKU. So the reason why we have to remove the seats is because there is the HVAC that comes in underneath to heat the rear passenger compartment. So this guy is cut along the center here, so we can go ahead and manipulate it around that. We do have where the front mounting foot of the seat is. That's why we have to remove that. Now also, one other thing I wanted to highlight is notice there's a very prominent lip that runs along the door sill. So they did this to create more of a bathtub effect, so that way you don't have to worry about water coming over and then getting in underneath the liner system from the side. So this is definitely a huge improvement. This is something I'm excited to see how much better it's going to be able to rinse out. So what we're going to do is we're just going to go and kind of follow through the instructions here. So I'm going to start off with removing the floor mats. So basically what these are just 3 simple pop-in fasteners, and we're just going to go and pull it straight away out. We're going to remove the trim panels on the lower side of each of the A-pillars. And these are using some plastic snapping features. And those guys are going to be pretty simple, straightforward to pull out. Then what we'll do is we'll remove the tether strap for the door, along with the electrical connection. We're going to use our 10mm and go ahead and take that off. Now what we're going to do is we're just going to set those guys in the center console just to make sure that we don't lose those. Then from there, everything should just start to pop open. And you just want to give steady, constant pressure. So then once you get that all done, you can go ahead and remove the door sill and A-pillar trim. Yep, so you just want to be cautious as you're pulling these guys out. There's multiple different snap-in features, which you can see are located on the back side here. So you have a plastic pop-in on the very front of it, and then you have multiple of these little snap-in features that you have to work around and get dislocated. So all this is going to require straight pressure inboard of the cab away from the side of the Jeep. Now with the door sill trim out for the front portion, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and get our T50 and we're going to remove the bolts from the seats. So all this we did was with the seats all the way to the rear just to give more access to the front. And with that, we do have the seat loose in the front. We're going to go ahead and roll our seats forward real quick and move to the back. Alright guys, so we're in the back. So what we're going to do is very similar to the front. We're just going to go ahead and first we're going to dislocate the center port. And we're going to pop up our two fasteners on either side. Then with that, we now have access to go ahead and remove our two seat bolts on either side. Alright, and then we'll throw these guys into the cup holder for now. So we've got the bolts removed for the seats. We just got to pry off this little plastic port right here. You can use a little flathead screwdriver, just be gentle. Pop that guy away. That's going to expose the 10mm fastener that we're going to go ahead and remove. And that guy then frees up the rear of the center. So Randy has the other side done, and we can see that the rear is now loose. So
Seats back?
Yep, we're going to put some seats back. We're going to go ahead and pop the two plastic trim locations here for the front of the front console and remove those similar 10mm nuts. Alright, now with that, we're able to pop a couple of push-in fasteners and give us the accessibility to be able to now lift this out. From there, we're going to go ahead and start removing the carpet. So what we'll do is we're going to take the seat back and also decide where the carpet is. And then at this point in time, there are these drain plugs. We're going to want to remove these now so we don't end up forgetting about those. So we're going to go and pop those guys out. We don't need to worry about reinstalling these because that's where the new Armorlite floor plugs will go in. Let's go ahead and rotate the seat back forward. Go ahead and pull down up to the front. Or just slide forward. Give us better access to the back. Okay. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go and pop out the trim here on the rear. And then, just for accessibility, I'm going to move the hookup out of the way here, and we're going to go ahead and pop this mid and lower part of the panel off. And again, this guy's going to have 4 clips in it, 2 at the top and 2 at the bottom to be released. For the access door, there's 2 slide-in fasteners and 2 pop-in fasteners here. So those guys pop out and it slides down. And from there, we'll go ahead and move on. We'll get this little access panel here popped out first. And this guy again has a little lock-in feature and 2 snap-ins. Then from there, we'll go ahead and work the rest of this guy out. Then once you get it, what you'll do is you work the seat belt down through this slit, and you'll be able to remove your panel, your lower door trim panel. So again, you have several push-in fasteners located, 2 in the front and then 4 in the rear, right underneath where the door opening is, along with 1 in the very far back. So now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and remove the rear carpet. We do have the cup holder loose. Now there are 2 things that you can do here. If you want, you can remove the 4 bolts in the front of the seats that will allow you to not have to tear the carpet, but there are some cut lines in the carpet to be able to tear it and just remove the carpet without removing these. So it's an optional step, totally up to you with what you want to do there. So my buddy Randy would like to keep his carpet in good shape without tearing it. So what we're going to do is we're going to run an 18 millimeter. We're going to go ahead and remove these guys. Alright, so then from here, just for display purposes, so we did decide that we wanted to remove these seats so we don't have to cut along the lines that are already established in the carpet. And also it's going to give you a little better view of how this all fits in underneath the seats. So what we're going to do is we're going to remove the pop on the rear here, and then we can go ahead and grab the carpet. We're going to underneath the seats. We're going to slide it backwards, put it in the front, and pull it straight on up. Alright, so next we are ready to go ahead and bring in the rear floor liner. These are the two floor plugs that need to come out, so we'll go and pull these out and we'll just set them up out of the way. And for our case, since we already have the seats folded up, we're able just to bring the floor liner straight back in. And then I think what we'll want to do is we'll want to bring the carpet over top of the liner. Just like that. We'll go ahead and guide it back, and I would keep this side on top of the carpet, the outside, but the center portion, the carpet's going to go on top. So we'll go ahead and slide it back into place. Make sure you get underneath the feet. That way it fully seats back as far as it's supposed to. You should have so you should make it so that the pop-in fastener on the back here, the carpet will come over top, and that will just snap in right on top of the Armorlite floor system. And so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and lift up the center console and work the liner underneath it and around the sides as well. And if your seat's pulled forward, you can just slide the liner underneath the feet. So if you can see in the camera angle right now, so if you put the carpet on top on the outside, it looks a little out of place, doesn't look quite right. That's the reason why it should be tucked in underneath. That, and also there's a little bit of a molding to the floor liner, the Armorlite floor system, that's allowed for the carpet to go underneath there. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and grab our two new drain plugs, and we'll go ahead and install those guys here. And so when you go to install these, if you are not quite aligned for the sheet metal cutout to the cutout in the Armorlite floor system, you're going to want to pull and adjust the liner. Then what you can do, just for ease, you can open up your floor plug and make sure that it goes in how you want. Alright, so we have the rear liner installed, we have the seats back and out of the way. Next we're going to be installing the front liners. And one thing I want to note real quick is, so Randy picked this up over in Idaho, which is about a 300-400 mile commute back to where we live on the west side of Washington State. And in the process, there was a lot of snow over the pass, and condensation got in underneath the carpet. The carpet got wet, and the floorboard was actually wet. So I wiped that up, got it nice and dry. He will not see that anymore with the Armorlite floor system because of the thermoplastic top layer, which is going to be great for keeping water from getting in between the sheet metal and the polyester. So we'll go ahead and bring in those now. All right, so what we're going to do with this guy is we're going to go ahead and feed him from the front first in underneath the pedals. And you have to work around the little button that's behind the accelerator pedal back here, at least on the driver's side. You want to make sure you get this far enough forward and have it aligned with the fasteners. And I'll go ahead and bring the camera in a little bit better so you can see all that. And then there's also the throttle assembly that's up in the front here. You need to make sure you get over in front of that. And then what we can do is we can go ahead and lift up the center console, and we can get the Armorlite system underneath it. You also want to get underneath this dash panel portion here too, I think. So what this is going to require is just bending underneath a little bit there, and you want to make sure you come in underneath just like that there. And with that, center console can come in right back over top again there. So there is a slit in the Armorlite system. It may require just a little bit of a pull to break it. What we're going to do is we're going to work this around and make sure that our electrical connection here comes through the little slot right here. And again, this guy needs to go underneath the rear liner. And then you have your dowel that's sticking up here. Get that guy up over top just like so. Make sure that this side is also tucked in underneath the rear liner. With that, that is how that all wraps up. So you can see how the liners overlap. So the rear on top of the front liner, and you have the HVAC coming through. Then how the liner is nice and tight underneath the center console, as well as portion of the dash there. And then you have your pin right there behind the brake pedal. There's another pin located right behind the accelerator pedal right here. And then that also aligns our drain plug. And you can see the bathtub effect that the liner has, which makes it very good for water diversion down to the drain plug. So per driver preference, we're going to install this. So it's actually going to be read upside down as you're looking when you jump into the vehicle, but it'll be rearward. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and install this guy here again. Just guiding them in between the sheet metal and the Armorlite floor. All right, there we go. And then we can go ahead and put in the cap, and we are good. All right, now with that, next thing we can do is we can go ahead and start working on the install of the trim panels. So we'll go ahead and start with the cup holder first. All right, so the next thing we can do is we can go and work on the cup holder. So make sure that he gets back into place. Make sure that our fastener locations behind are good. Make sure it's popped into place. All right, now we're in. Okay. And with that, and we can reinstall our little plastic trim piece. Notice there's 3 tangs on it. Just align those with the 3 access points, and it'll pop right in. Alright, so one thing that we noticed in the process of installing the rear fasteners for the cup holder is it does require some extra pressure to push down to get the holes to align. Otherwise it's kind of winking. So what we have to do is push down just a little bit. To get that installed. And that's just because the Armorlite system's a little bit thicker and it creates a little more up pressure, but not too difficult to overcome. And then what we can do is we can go ahead and reinstall our little plastic retainers. Just like so. And then for our case specifically, we'll go ahead and reinstall the front feet on the rear seats using the 18mm hardware and 18mm driver. Okay, next we can move on to reinstalling our lower door sill. So what we'll do is we'll start off with getting the seatbelt fished back through. Get him down into place. We'll go ahead and start from the rear and work our way forward. Make sure everything's lined, taps back into the side just like so. Just like that, we are all secured up. We'll bring in that little trim piece there. Again, this guy, we're going to first engage this top piece into this hole, and then we'll pop in the other two. Make sure that your seat belt is coming out through the access hole. Pop them into place. We can bring our mid B-pillar trim next. So, again here, what we have is 2 push-in fasteners on the bottom and the top. You want to have the access door right here where the electrical and the tether is. And make sure that this guy's outside when you bring it in. What I'm going to push the seat forward just a little bit. Pop in the top. And we'll pop in the bottom. Just like so. Reconnect our tether. And then we'll engage the top hooks first and then the 2 lower push-in fasteners afterwards. Make sure that your cable comes through the access hole and go and pop them in. Just like that. That closes off the rear portion. Okay, next what we'll do is we'll go ahead and move on to installing the front door sill trim. What I've done is I moved the seat back as far as I can just to give me more access. We'll go ahead and bring in our trim panel. We're going to want to make sure that we have this hook come in through the access hole here. And what we can do is I'm going to start working from the back side first and work my way forward. Again, just pulling the trim inwards. And then when we get there, we can go ahead and reinstall this clip back into its spot on the sidewall. You just push right in. We can get our 10mm fastener here. Go ahead and start him back on, and we'll fasten him into place. And that guy doesn't require a lot of torque. And then we can go ahead and grab our plug him back into place. Once he's in, then you can go ahead and rotate your white clip down and then engage our locking tab downward. Reinstall our tether loop to prevent the door from opening too wide. And we can install using the 2 hook-in features and then our rear snap-in features. Just like so. And that is going to button up all of the trim reinstallation. Alright, and our last step is going to be reinstalling the bolts for the seat, front and rear. Go and start off with the fronts here. Then using our T50, we'll go ahead and tighten them in. For the rear, that you want to make sure that you have the liner going over top of the feet. So might have been better if I would have done this before tightening the fronts, would have given me a little bit more ease, but and with that we can go and seat the foot back to the floor and install our bolts. There you go.
Looking beautiful.
Oh yeah. Alright, so one thing that I very stupidly overlooked in the install instructions is there are these posts that the factory floor liner snaps into. That is located right here and is preventing me from being able to install the drain plug properly. If you have issues, this is something you need to do, and make sure you don't forget is there's 2 posts. This post over on this side isn't as important, but this side is definitely important. So per the instructions, you want to remove both of them. I forgot that. Fortunately, you can reach in there with a 16mm box end wrench and you can just reach in through the floor plug and you can go ahead and start that fastener, and then you can get it the rest of the way by hand. And then I'll also pull out the washer as well. Alright, and there you go. You can just go ahead and pull those guys out. So definitely make sure you don't miss that step when you're installing this. Save yourself a lot of heartache. And then we can go ahead and reinstall our drain plug. And just like that, and we can go ahead and install the cap. And we are good. There you go.
I love it. It feels good on the feet. It's comfortable.
First impressions of the floor liner.
It's beautiful. It's absolutely gorgeous. Your feet don't slip on it. I mean, it just feels comfortable. It looks like it belongs in here.
Yep.
It doesn't look like an aftermarket. It looks like it came with the Jeep.
Yep, for sure.
So, no, I'm very impressed with it. And I'm sure with the thickness of it, it's going to cancel out more road noise. But we'll get back to you on that.
Yep.
As soon as I can take it for a spin.
For sure.
So, yeah, no, beautiful. Thank you very much.
All right, guys, so that's going to wrap up today's video. So that's the install of the JLU Floor Liner System by Armorlite. So, gotta say, my first impressions of this one, the install went pretty smooth. It's definitely more involved in the JK style, but that is because some of the user feedback that Armorlite received from their customers and looking at how to make it so it's a little bit more preventative to having water get in underneath the liner, because there are a few places that it could with the JK style, but the JL definitely improved a lot of those. So there's a little bit more involvement. You got to unbolt the front seats. Again, similar to the JK body style. I personally think better than factory look. It fits super well, matches all the contours of the interior, and just really ups the appearance of the interior. So just gotta say, really impressed with it. And I hope you guys enjoyed today's video, and if you did, please hit the like button for me. If you are enjoying what I am putting out there for content, hit the subscribe button, sign up for notifications, and otherwise, we are Victor Vector JKU. We are taking this build and the trails both direction and magnitude. All right, guys, we'll catch you later.